So we have to get the amygdala to settle down and to say, guess what? That experience that we had when we were 2, it's okay.
Right.
We don't have to go back and relive it or protect ourselves from it. We can allow ourselves to move forward.
Right.
When yes.
A lot of things are, you know, that we learn in life. It's a learning tool, right? And so we kind of grow from that also in that sense by that experience too. Even though, you know, it may have, when a child went around out into the street and the mother may paddle its bottom, we learn not to do that. And so as a parent, we're trying to teach our child for safety reasons.
Sure.
And so now looking at that, would that be considered like a negative experience that someone actually got paddled on their bottom from their parent? That they would hold that too?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because we all have different situations and different issues that we view as traumatic.
Okay.
So if someone got spanked very hardly, sure, that probably would be a traumatic situation. But if, in other words, a child was reprimanded but then loved and said, you know, we don't want to do that, but I still love you.
Right.
Then we get the message that that behavior was not okay, but I as a person am still okay.
Yeah.
So we'll perceive those different pieces very differently. And it's interesting because parents that I work with will often say, well, I don't think there was a trauma for him at this age or that age or whatever it might be.
Sure.
But I use applied kinesiology,
Okay.
which is muscle testing.
All right.
So we apply the study of muscles and movement to education or to learning. So that's why we call it applied kinesiology in this respect. And I literally muscle test whoever I'm working with. And a strong muscle test means that the mind, body, and the spirit were able to send all of the joint information energy to one muscle that we're testing in the body.
Okay.
And it will give us a strong muscle test.
So this is actually part of your treatment. This is actually what you do when someone comes to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Just
Yes.
to be clear on that.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not exactly treatment, it is identifying what we're doing and where we're going based on the subconscious system.
Okay.
So the subconscious mind is storing things, and it will tell us. The brain thinks it knows everything,
Okay.
but it really doesn't. The subconscious mind that's held in our system, in our body, really knows all of the answers that we need. So if we go back and we say, so did this system have a trauma at age 3, 4, or 5? The brain will say, I don't know. I have no idea, because we
Okay.
don't have conscious memory until at least 3 or 3.5. But the body stores all of that, and the body can tell us what's going on. So we use applied kinesiology muscle testing to get answers for what the system needs.
Are there other people that come to you for other treatments?
Absolutely. Sometimes people will come for some physical illness or a physical pain or something and not know why it's there, and frankly neither do I, but we use muscle testing, use applied kinesiology to ask, is there an emotional issue that's coming up here? And generally we can clear whatever emotional issue it is. I had a woman come in who had terrible feet. She said she couldn't go up and down stairs anymore, and they were arthritic, and she was told that she'd have to live with that.
Oh, no.
But we asked what her system was holding there, and we were able to clear some emotional pieces. And she stood up with one foot, and she tapped it on the floor, and she said, oh, for crying out loud, how did you do that? And I said, well, I actually didn't do anything. You let it go. She said, well, fix the other foot now, too. And she came and took a couple classes from me afterward. And said, and they've continued to be good. My feet have really felt good.
Wow.
So she was really holding some tough stuff in those feet for a little bit.
Yeah.
Besides that kind of a thing, people will come in with negative thoughts. You know, it's those kind of things that go through our brain and we say, oh, I can't face today because it's too much, or I've got an upsetting thing that's coming, or even coming here to video the show today. You know, I woke up one day and went, oh my goodness. Needed to do a little work to relax that myself.
Okay. Yeah.
So sometimes we can work on performance issues. We can put our own glass ceilings on ourselves and say, oh, there's no way I can do that. When we release those, the sky's the limit. In addition to that, one of the things I do a lot of is to help people release their allergies. We have connections between upsets and the kinds of activities or foods we're eating, perhaps at the time that an upset is happening. Or we get things handed down through family lines again.
Oh, yes.
And they're not really ours, but we can release those and we can separate from the family line so we no longer have to have the reaction that we're having to an allergen. Or it might not be a full-blown allergy, but it certainly is some sort of a reaction that we can help release.
Okay.
In addition to that, sometimes people have learning challenges, so we can repattern how it is they take information in and help them to understand their own stress response and how that works for them.
Okay.
And a big one is fears. I see a lot of people who have fears about different things, and we help them get rid of them.
Yeah.
Healthy fear is important,
Yes.
but fears that keep us frozen or debilitated certainly don't need to be around.
Yeah, and I know life throws a lot at us, and my mother actually did a really good job, and she taught us how to rise above it and to enhance that lesson, and then to take it into your own advantage and to absorb it and learn from it and grow.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Yes, coping skills.
Yes, very much so.
We certainly want those.
Yeah.
Good.
And I know she had some issues as well, and I wanted to make them all better, because of course you want your loved one to be, happy always.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's good to know. So we basically kind of want to talk about how you actually do this work, if you could help that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the very first thing that I'd like to share with everybody is how important drinking water is.
Okay.
We need to be hydrated for our systems to communicate with each other and for us to be able to feel good.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest issues that's going on right now in our society is we're drinking so many other things that are depleting us of our fluids that we aren't getting enough water. And when we don't have enough water, we don't have the messages connecting the way that we need to throughout our nervous system, and that's really important. So one of the first things that I encourage people to do is to drink water.
Okay.
The actual step-by-step process that I use is called a balance, because we are putting our energy back in balance because we get out of whack one way or another, and that's very important to do. So I encourage people to get into what Brain Gym calls PACE. It stands for being positive, active, clear, and energetic, and if you think about that, it's when we feel good.
Oh,
if
sure.
we are those 4 states, we're feeling good. When we feel good, our whole system opens up. When our system is open, our whole brain is open, we learn easily and effortlessly. And we want that in our when we're learning, because that makes us able to remember the details and the big picture as information and experiences are going through our system.
Sure.
So the first part is to get ourselves relaxed to a point where we feel like we are ready to learn. Then we identify what is going on that we would like to shift, to change. We are here, we'd like to be here. What is it that you would like to shift?
Sure.
Then I use applied kinesiology to ask the system, how do we get from here to here? What techniques do I know that you want for your brain to have a new pattern? Because we're going to tweak the pattern that's going on now, put a new one in that flows much more smoothly.
Oh, okay. So you repattern my thoughts to the extent of being positive.
Absolutely.
And energizing.
Yes.
And
yes.
So.
Okay. And the system will tell us, your body will tell us, what do we need in order for that to happen?
Okay.
So Brain Gym in particular, and a number of other techniques that I use, are actually movement-based because, as I mentioned before, we need to go into the body to release those pieces that we've stored that are uncomfortable for us.
Sure.
And that might be causing patterns to not be very helpful.
Okay.
We want to release those pieces. Once we do that, we actually perform the work, and it may be moving across midlines, it may be some tapping, sometimes we can use that.
Okay.
And we keep asking the system, how does it feel in my system?
Okay.
When I think about that issue, do I get upset? Do I have a racing heart? Do I have something that's happening in my system? And we keep monitoring that because we want that reaction to keep coming down, down, down until it's gone.
Okay.
When we release the emotional issue, we allow our energy to flow smoothly again, and that's our whole point.
Yes.
So we keep checking in until that number is down to a 0 and people say, oh my gosh, I feel so light. What happened? We released that piece that was holding you down and making life difficult. Yeah.
And change to be a better you.
And change to be a better you. Absolutely, Tina.
That sounds so perfect. That sounds so intriguing for me. And of course, I'm sure that sounds really good for my viewers.
I hope so.
Yes. So where would they go to obtain this information?
Well, I actually have a website that they could certainly take a look at and find out more information. And would you like me to say what it is?
Sure. We're also going to put that up at the bottom of the screen as well.
All right.
Yeah.
It's www.mindbodyspiritint for integration, which is the name of my company.
Okay.
.com. So mindbodyspiritint.com. If they want to know a little bit more about Brain Gym in particular, they certainly could go to the Brain Gym website, which is www.braingym.org.
Okay.
And there's a lot of information there, as well as people like me who do that work in the community around this state and throughout the U.S. and the world, actually.
Sure.
And then I have helped to create an alliance of holistic practitioners in the St. Croix River Valley.
Sure. And
we have a website with all of our members listed there, and it is www.rivervalleyholistic, HOLISTIC.com.
Okay.
And there's a listing of a number of people who do a lot of different things that I don't do, but we're all in it for the same purpose, which is to help us all feel better.
Right, and to benefit the patients as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Cool. So we have a few more minutes. Is there anything specific that you want to throw out to my viewers to help them know if they're somewhere where they are right now, but they can benefit themselves?
Absolutely. You know, there is one thing here that we haven't actually brought up yet.
Okay.
And it happens to be a vision board. Those of your viewers who are familiar with The Secret, they talk about vision boards in there quite a bit. And I put vision boards together for myself somewhat frequently, but this is one that I did a while back. And I was kind of giggling to myself because I had filled it with lots of pictures of people that I just cut out of magazines. I wanted a lot of people to come and see me, to have a treatment, to work with me, whatever it might be. And I put a bunch of children on here.
Okay.
And I was so surprised as each one of these children started coming through the door. They, of course, weren't exactly that child because this is just a magazine picture. But children came through the door that looked like these children.
Amazing.
And I think my eyes got big as the children, and also many of the women that I have listed at the top, started coming through the door. And I actually had stopped a moment to notice how it would feel to have these people come through the door for me. And when you envision that and you actually put it in your system, it raises your vibration. So when you put a board together, you want to stop and visualize it, but you also want to feel it. And that's how a vision board manifests.
Right. And to look for the positive, and also,
absolutely,
yes, to see that. So it's kind of amazing that you kind of pulled this in, you know, and they resemble each other too as well. Yeah. So you kind of, what they say is you put it out there.
You put it out there.
And it came back into you.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and bringing this information out to my viewers.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and we didn't get to talk about children, so I'd like to invite you back.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yeah, because I understand that you also work with children as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to having you view other shows of Knowledge for Wellness, and visit my website at www.knowledgeforwellness.com and let me know where you viewed my show. And the mission of Knowledge for Wellness is to inform viewers on health issues, to expose, educate, and make viewers aware, to enhance themselves and their loved ones for a better quality of life. And I hope we have provided you with more knowledge to benefit you and your loved ones. So until next time, be well and goodbye. Thank you so much.
Over time you've healed so much in me, and I am living proof that although my darkest hour had come, your light could still shine through. And at times it's just enough to cast the shadow on